Hi everyone, Sunstrider here, and after 4th pull on the Ganyu banner, I finally got my hands on Kaveh. I made a video on why I prefer Kaveh instead of Beizu when they first announced it, and in case you guys missed it, you can watch the video by tapping the link above. Kaveh is a 4-star dendro unit who uses Claymore with a unique selling point as Nilou, which is to detonate a dendro course immediately. The only difference is that with Kaveh, this detonating mechanic is on his skill and without any stats raising or providing elemental mastery buff like Nilou's passive. In the middle of dendro meta, I think pulling Kaveh is a worthy trade for newer and veteran players alike, especially if they lack a good dendro unit. I myself pulled him mainly because of my current strongest team composition, the Hyper Bloom team comp. With the rest of the team already settled, I'm curious to see how Kaveh will fare in this team composition as a 4-star. On top of that, given how underwhelming the two new artifacts perform, then I guess he's very easy to build with the current best artifacts for dendro. To me, Kaveh needs a longer on-field time in order for players to see his potential as a DPS. This conclusion came after seeing his skill and burst that requires him to be on the field to trigger the elemental reaction. While his longer on-field presence is still debatable, once we talk about his elemental burst, players might see the right way to play him. Initially, I had this idea to bring another dendro unit to the team because his damage revolves around the number of dendro cores, but reluctantly doing so because 1. There's no unit to provide the heal for him in case he hit by the bloom damage, and 2. There's no trigger for the hyper bloom reaction. But after seeing his passive, an Architect's Undertaking, I quickly realized his potential and how he should be built. His passive allows him to regain HP equal to 300% of his elemental mastery whenever he hits by bloom, including hyper bloom and burgeon damage. This very information also directly tells us that Kaveh is a unit that benefits from stacking as much elemental mastery as possible. Talking about his burst, the painted dome, remember when I said that Kaveh needs longer on-field presence to fully make his kit work? If you take a look at his burst description, aside from increasing normal charge and plunging attacks and converting them into dendro damage, the key information is this statement that says the effect will be cancelled once Kaveh leaves the field. The interesting part about Kaveh and his elemental burst is the fact that how energy reliant and slow he charges his burst. Considering his elemental burst that needs 80 energy and his skill that only generates 2 particles per 6 seconds, then you will probably play the longer game with him. If you're playing without an off-field support, I guess generating energy particles is your main problem as his normal and charge attack is a slow one and it might take some time for you to generate particles once the elemental reaction ends. This very issue will serve as a good bridge for us to talk about the next part of the video, the team composition. Now that we know Kaveh is an energy reliant unit, ideally, we should have a strong off-field support in order for him to recharge his energy. When I think about dendro team composition and off-field support, 3 units that comes into my mind: Xingqiu, Kukishinobu, and Nahida. At the moment, I think this is the best team composition for Kaveh because if you take Nahida's 3 karma into account and how she can apply dendro quickly in one single tap for Xingqiu to follow up with hydro application, then this sounds like a viable one, right? It is one of the viable options for Kaveh, but if we really want to nerd out and take into account how energy particles work, then I might need to do some adjustment for this team composition. There is a possibility to bring 3 dendro units and 1 hydro applier if you really want to see the bloom reaction, like the totality of it, but I have to warn you that the bloom elemental reaction does not crit and will be purely based on the character's level and elemental mastery. So if you really want to do it, I need to warn you in advance. There is a possibility to play Kaveh in a burgeon team comp, but my number one concern will be the elemental reaction competitions between Hydro, Pyro, and Dendro. Depending on who you bring to the team, it might or might not become a problem. However, if we take a look at my current burgeon lineup, I guess this idea is out of the options. Talking about weapons, considering that Kaveh majorly benefits from having elemental mastery stacked on him, then the number one best weapon for him is the Mailed Flower. I got this weapon at the last Wind Bloom Festival, and the first time I got this Claymore, I had no idea who to use it for. It turned out, this weapon is specifically made for Kaveh because at level 80, it provides a total of 101 elemental mastery for him. For those of you who don't have this weapon, there are other options like Valvonius Greatsword, Sacrificial Greatsword, and 5-star options, the Forest Regalia. The number one reason why these claymores are good options for Kaveh is because it's substats. As Kaveh needs a lot of energy for his burst to activate, then the Valvonius Greatsword and Sacrificial Greatsword will be the best as both of them provide energy recharge substats. On top of that, on the Final 5, Sacrificial Greatsword has 80% chance to end its own cooldown, allowing you to trigger the Artistic Ingenuity as often as possible. Moving to artifacts. For this video, I've tried the Deepwood Memories and the Gilded Dream set. Using the Gilded Dream set on Kaveh allows him to get additional elemental mastery raised by 50 points for every party member with a different elemental types. From the 397 elemental mastery that I currently have, switching Kaveh to the field boosts his elemental mastery to 443 elemental mastery. This is something nice and one of the highest elemental mastery that I could get on any of my other units. Even on my Deepwood memories, I couldn't get this high number on my Nahida. In practice, using Gilded Dream on your Kaveh allows you to flexibly build your team outside of how Kaveh should be played. Deepwood Memories, on the other hand, is your go-to options if you prefer him to be a support, which in this case highly not recommended. Players would normally use this artifact on their off-field support as the 30% dendro resistance decrease can still be triggered even when the unit leaves the field. When you use Deepwood Memories, it means that after Kaveh uses his elemental skill, you'll have to switch him over with your main dendro DPS. But considering my team composition here, with no other dendro unit than Kolei, I guess Deepwood Memories on him doesn't work that great. His rotation as on-field DPS is quite simple and straightforward. In my case, I use Nahida to apply dendro to as many enemies as possible, then Xingqiu will follow up with his elemental skill and Cookie's heal. Then finally, the stage is ready for Kaveh to shine. One thing to keep in mind is the off-field support from your unit. His energy reliant is becoming apparent and becoming a real problem once all the support expires.
I've been through worse. Gotcha.
Let's change tactics. No, my sword. Rain outlines your fate.
Sight clear. We'll meet again. Come at me.
I see everything.
Scanning.
Lightning terrified. Committed to memory.
Sight clear.
To me, Kaveh is like a 4-star Nilou, which is fun to play but needs some investment in order to make his kit work. This conclusion came after seeing how energy and support reliant he is. This is a problem that every Kaveh main has to overcome in order to make him work. Another resource related issue is his talent. On talent level 6, 8, 7 on his basic attack, skill and burst respectively, Kaveh couldn't dish out damage as I hope he would. If you want to play him as a DPS, his skills need to be on higher level than what I currently am. At this point of the video, I'm starting to wonder whether Kaveh could be played as a DPS because if you consider his slow attack pattern and long skill cooldown, the amount of damage that he can expand must be limited compared to any other claymore wielding characters like Diluc, Deya, Ito, or Eula. But if you want to use him as a support, then he's one kind of unique support with an okay elemental skill that if you want not to play Bloom, then we're really missing out on his kit but still functioning the same way. Well, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Kaveh can be played as DPS or even a fun unit to play? Comment below and let's discuss.